Hey everyone, I'm Fix here. Quick video on what to do next when you get your rooted cutting that you purchase or root yourself. This is It's been rooting for over 8 weeks. Um, One of the first thing you want to do is make sure that you don't put it in direct sunlight, especially if it's growing indoor in a greenhouse or under artificial lights. UV is going to be very harmful, so that's the first thing. Never put the newly rooted cutting in direct sunlight at all. Second of all, before you uppot trees, especially in these long, deep pots, um, just stop watering for a few days until the pot is very light, and you can tell sometimes from um, body mix on top you see some shrinkage and very light coloring. Again, you can tell it's very light. Usually, let's take a look at this one here. This is kind of dryish. Again, not too dry. I mean, if you look at the leaves, they're still okay. It needs water, but I purposely did stop watering this one because I want the roots and the soil to stick together and not fall apart because of the weight of the wet potting mix. This is an example here. It's 400 grams, so almost a pound, I would say, if I am doing the right math. So 400 grams for something rooting in straight potting mix, which is very light. However, I didn't water this one. If I water this here, for example, I would give it almost half a cup of water. Yeah, that's, for me, just experience. This is watered enough, and if I weigh this one, it's 672 grams. So again, rough math, I'm gonna say 30% less. So the weight is 30% less. So this is, for me, for example, is good enough moisture, not too wet, not too dry. However, I would not try or attempt to uppot this, because as soon as you lift it up, if you want to do that, the wet potting mix is going to fall and probably going to damage the roots. You don't want to do that. So I'll leave it to dry. And if this is like 3 months old, 4 months old, which is fine actually in this potting mix, in this potting container, I would just let it dry and just say pull it up straight. Like I'll turn it upside down and like give it a couple taps until it falls out on its own. However, this one probably still need more time. I would say this does have good enough roots, but if you just got it, your rooted cutting, I would not rush to uppot it immediately unless it's very vigorous and you have a lot of top growth. That's how you tell that this is properly rooted. If your rooted cutting look like this, I would not touch it yet. This still needs more time. One other thing I like to do, if I'm not really sure or I'm gonna struggle or I'm worried that I'm gonna damage the roots, which happens more often than you think, because the roots in the bottom, the compacted soil or potting mix, it's gonna cause it not to come out easily, especially if it's not fully rooted or you don't have a very strong root ball. What I'd like to do is I just get one of these box cutters, and as much as I don't like to waste the pot, I would rather waste the dollar plastic pot here, 70 cent whatever, and cut it from the corners carefully and not risk damaging an expensive tree. So let me just put the phone here to show you as an example what I'm going to do. Turn it back here. So I'm gonna do just a corner. Watch for your fingers. If you have cutting resistant gloves, please wear these. Just super careful, very gentle. Don't go too deep, and cut it slowly while holding it upright. This one. Just gonna gently cut it with a sharp blade. Clean one. 2. Easy. Watch for your fingers. Well, that might be enough, right? If you feel that it's still going to break apart, just cut another corner. I'll take this one here. There's one. Again, the advantage of letting it dry, the potting mix is going to be so light and it will stick to the roots. So it's easy to just pull it gently and carefully. What you would do next is you're just going to place it in your new container and gently fill with more potting mix around it. For these newly rooted cuttings, what you want to do is avoid putting too much compost or soil, or not do it at all, to be honest with you. So what I would do with something this size, which is most of where I root my cuttings in, I would just use straight potting mix, and I would only pot it in. Again, you can go 5 gallon, but ideally you would start with 3 gallon. It's better to gradually pot your tree. So the first few months, if the tree is growing vigorously and nicely, just use straight potting mix. First of all, I'm using potting mix to root my cuttings, so the medium will be consistent, so you won't have like a wet spot. So for example, if I use my normal soil mix, which is 50% compost, 50% potting mix, the surrounding soil around the cutting would probably be too moist. This one would dry too fast, and so on. So just for consistency. Again, that's my experience. I would like to use also straight potting mix. Just go to any nearby stores and buy any brand, as long as it's a potting mix. Doesn't matter what brand, as long as it's just say potting mix. Again, use, I would say, 3 gallon, and then just carefully, gently, you would just try to compact it a little bit so it can hold together, and water it with probably like a few cups of water whenever you see the color of the soil turning light. And at this point, when you get your potting mix, I highly advise getting some slow release fertilizer like Osmocote. You'll see these in the big stores. Comes in the pink container, either a plastic container or plastic bag, Osmocote Plus, and follow the direction on the bag. Usually it will say 2 scoops per gallon, give or take, and you mix it up with the top 3-4 inches of the top soil. So that will feed your plant for the entire season, or roughly 6 months, and you probably can add additional fertilizer later, but that alone will help significantly improve the health of your plant and make sure it will do very well in the first season. So again, make sure the pot is not wet. Just don't rush it. Leave it for a few days. When it's wet, when it's dry, when you feel it's dry, and again, don't wait for it to drool and be thirsty. Just dry enough where it stays together. That's more than good enough. And then again, you can cut the container, so you're not risking damaging your root ball and shocking the tree. Again, This here can, I would not have to apply this one for probably another month. So don't rush it. Just wait 3-4 weeks. Make sure it's moist but not wet. Keep it in the shade at least if you're putting it outdoor, if your weather is warm enough, or indoor away from direct sunlight. If you have good source of lighting or indirect sun in that room, that would be great. You can gradually in summer or spring, if your weather is warm enough, gradually put it under shade and then slowly introduce it to sunlight. Just give it a couple weeks. If you accidentally put it in a direct sunlight, you're probably going to see some burns, but the tree should recover nicely. Again, if you have any question, please let me know. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. And that's all. Thank you for watching.